Texas Rangers 2023 World Series champions. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers. A lot was made about the World Series ratings. The numbers are down. Historically, one of the least watched World Series in recent history, Rangers and Diamondbacks. Here's some follow-up questions on that. Number one, what did you expect? The Diamondbacks have a very regionally located fan base. They're not a nationally renowned team. Diamondbacks don't have fans on the East Coast at all, let alone probably the West Coast. And I mean, like the actual western coast of the United States. They have fans in Arizona, of course, maybe in the surrounding areas, maybe in Nevada, maybe Utah, New Mexico, maybe, but they're not going to get a lot of turnout, just overall. The Rangers were, believe it or not, a big market team in terms of how much they spent on their payroll, but they're also not a nationally renowned team. On top of that, the East Coast sports fans were not going to pay attention to this World Series. And I don't necessarily blame them. There's no Yankees, no Mets, no Phillies, no Orioles, no Red Sox, no Cubs, right? No Dodgers. There's some incredibly talented players on both teams. Some amazing players on both teams. Corey Seager, I would consider to be a superstar. Marcus Semien, borderline superstar. Big names, sorta. Max Scherzer, not a huge contributor. But to those who, well, I'll say this first. Major League Baseball had a big uptick in attendance this year. Pretty big uptick. At least they claim. And I think that's in part of this, the new speed, the pace of play, right? Everything that's gone on in the new rules with Major League Baseball. Games are moving quicker, more action, more stolen bases with yada, yada, yada. Okay. I'm not sure I buy that. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not sure I buy it. But also, when you end up with a World Series between two teams that are a direct outcome of the new rule changes implemented in baseball, neither team is on the East Coast. One team is a recent expansion franchise, and another one is regionally located in a state that already has another baseball team that just won the World Series, combined with 3 of the 5 games in the World Series taking place at the exact same time as a primetime football game, whether that be Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Saturday, college, whatever the case may be. There's primetime football going on in 3 of the 5 games of this World Series. Mix all of it together, and your outcome is going to be exactly what happened with the ratings in the World Series. Oh, we have all-time low ratings. Only this many people watched this many this. Okay. I don't really think there's much to make of that. People are freaking out about it. People are like, oh, baseball, this and that. That would be pretty much exactly what I expected. Oh, World Series ratings tanked. No one watched. 2 regional teams. One team is a recent expansion franchise. Another team is in the same state as the team that just won the World Series. Not on the East Coast, not on the big market West Coast cities. In fact, they took down a lot of those big market teams on the way to the World Series by capitalizing and playing the style of baseball that's now being encouraged with the new rules. And then we get to the World Series. We play 3 of the 5 games at the exact same time as primetime football, which always dominates American television. And low ratings is pretty much exactly what I expected from that World Series. I thought it was pretty entertaining. The new pace of play didn't really allow for the games to go by slower with big moments or guys stepping out. Didn't really have a ton of that, but also had some amazing electric moments. It also had a bit of a mismatch. The Diamondbacks got hot at the right time, took down the Phillies in 7 games, capitalized on stolen bases and balls in play and fewer strikeouts, had some pitchers just go absolutely nuclear, and then they ran into the Rangers, who are probably the deepest or second deepest lineup in all of Major League Baseball. Lost Scherzer and Adolis Garcia for 2 games in the World Series, and it just didn't matter. Corey Seager turned into Barry Bonds, and the Rangers won in 5. It was a little bit uneventful, exactly what I expected, all the way around from the World Series. Anybody who thought or expected differently didn't really know much about baseball coming into it. Oh my gosh, low ratings. What are we going to do? Nothing. We're going to do nothing. And those teams made it. The Diamondbacks were a good team, had no business being in the World Series. And they come matched up against the Rangers, who were the best team, at least in my opinion, in the American League all year, just in terms of well-rounded contributions. I know other teams have better records. I get that. I think the Rangers were better than the Orioles. I think the Rangers were better than Tampa Bay, better than the Astros, and it showed. And then it got down to crunch time, and they played an inexperienced team, inexperienced manager, and they beat them in 5 with low ratings, with games that played on Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night during football season. Exactly what I expected. So let's not make a lot of that. But congratulations to the Texas Rangers. Congratulations. The Rangers are world champions. Bruce Bochy's a world champion. Corey Seager is a world champion. Marcus Semien. All these guys, congratulations, well-deserved. Those guys played their butts off all year long and in the postseason. Absolutely locked it in, dialed it in. And I think there are so many different things that the rest of baseball can take away from the Texas Rangers and how they got to the World Series title. Okay, number one, you always have to have big-time free agents. You can't just build every single piece of your roster from your farm system. You can build a lot of it. You can develop. You can draft. You can be the best drafting and developing team. You still have to supplement with big-time free agents. Orioles. Number two, you have to make trades at the right time for the right guys. Didn't have enough bullpen depth, traded for Aroldis Chapman a month before the trade deadline. Starting pitching, a little shaky. Max Scherzer's available, go out and get him. Jordan Montgomery's available, go out and get him. Perfect trades. Also, we've got a bunch of young, homegrown guys on our roster. We developed them, had a perfect mix, a perfect bowl of soup, every ingredient you would want in a world champion, topped with a little sprinkle of an incredibly experienced, calm, cool, collected presence in the dugout with Bruce Bochy managing that team. Perfect combination. If I'm building a team moving forward, it's exactly how I want to do it. I want to draft, I want to develop, and I want to call up a good amount of young, controllable talent. Then I want to go out and sign a bunch of big horses to carry the lineup if some of the other guys in the lineup aren't producing at a high level. Guys I can rely on, guys I can look up to, guys I can count on. And then, even at that point, you're not going to hit on every prospect. You're not going to hit on every free agent. You're going to have holes in some part of your team, or you're going to have places where you could probably improve. And you go to the trade market, you target those guys, and you get them. And you don't hesitate. You pull the trigger. You know, the Scherzer deal with the Mets, Rangers might have overpaid, gave up some pretty darn good prospects. But if the Rangers don't have Max Scherzer, I'm not sure they win the World Series. I know he wasn't a massive contributor, but the veteran presence by himself and the name itself was, I think, just as important. Homegrown talent, free agent signings, trade acquisitions, and you have to be led by somebody who knows how to lead a group of men. And then I think the best part about the Rangers, the best part, in my opinion, forget about Corey Seager, forget about Bruce Bochy, forget about Scherzer, Montgomery, Adolis Garcia, all of them. Forget about everything. What stood out to me, honestly, the most about the Rangers and their deep run in the postseason is that at no point did I feel like they were executing a game plan that was predetermined by an algorithm or a computer. We saw it with Blake Snell and the Rays in the World Series. We saw it earlier in the postseason. Who was it that got pulled? Oh, yeah, we saw it earlier in this postseason when the Blue Jays pulled Jose Barrios after 3 dominant innings because, we need to bring the lefty into the Listen, numbers are important. They're really important, actually. They can assign and assess lots of different value and metrics to different players to help people understand how good certain guys actually are. I understand that. But when you got Bruce Bochy managing and you don't overanalyze stuff and you don't rely solely on numbers, Rays, you realize like, ideally this guy, first time through the lineup, he's pretty good, but the second time he starts to struggle, especially when he gets down to like 4, 5, 6 second time. So we're only going to get, we can only get like 12, 14 outs out of it. If he's throwing 5 shutout innings and he has 72 pitches and he has 7 strikeouts, leave him in the game. He's pitching really well. And then if he goes out, walks a guy, gives up a hit, walks another guy, let's get somebody loose. Of course, every game situation, 1-run game, 3-run game, 5-run game, it's all different. It all changes. The bottom line is Bruce Bochy has been there and done that. And the Rangers said, hey, Bruce, we're going to assemble a roster. Analytically speaking, this is probably the best way to play these guys, but we also trust your judgment and we trust your feel and we trust your ability to analyze and understand the human aspect of what baseball is all about. And the Rangers, ultimately, the Rangers prevailed because they mixed all of that together perfectly. A lot of other teams had a ton of dudes, just monsters, dudes. Some of them, no shows in the playoffs. You know what? That happens. Dodgers and Braves. Some of them relied too much on the home run ball. Phillies, Astros to an extent, Twins. Some of them overanalyzed. Some of them tried to play the game with the computer. Blue Jays, Tampa Bay. Some of them just didn't have enough experience and will probably be back at some point. Orioles, Marlins, it happens. But when you get everything almost perfectly right, when you assemble a roster and trade acquisitions and managerial hires, you get the Texas Rangers in 2023 world champs. That's it. Every other team in the league, take a step back, take notes, figure out how to assemble a system, a well-oiled machine like the Texas Rangers in 2023.